Welcome to the squad. It's Icewater and Puma. Do us a solid. Like, comment, subscribe, and share our episodes on YouTube channel Chocolate 108.1 WYDL. Now it's the best of three in the NBA Finals, Ice, and I'm just looking forward to it being over at this particular point. I try to avoid that. But let's talk about the game, man. What did you see in the game?
From throughout the game, you kind of thought that Indiana was just going to win the game. Simply put, the way they were playing better. It seemed as if OKC had some issues for some reason or another. Indiana seemed to be the more fluid team pretty much for 3 quarters. Then something clicked for OKC. Chet Holmgren, I always wondered if something was wrong with him. You mentioned off air that he might have had issues with his ankle. But at the same time, as we mentioned earlier, that SGA, Shane Gilders Alexander, knows that he needs to have his guys ready to go. And what I think you saw at the very end, they kind of willed themselves to go. If we really want to be in this series and we really have a chance to win, like we've been doing all year long, we're going to have to dig deep. And they dug deep in the fourth quarter. I think that Indiana at times were their own worst enemy when it came to trying to figure things out. And the wheel took over for OKC. And it really was surprising. I will say that, particularly with Indiana playing at home.
Yeah, I was watching because I was coming in from out of town and I had a chance to watch the game. And one of the things that SGA did when Holmgren went down is went up to him like, "Come on, man, you gotta get up. You gotta get up, man. We need you. We need you." And it seemed like it motivated Holmgren to really kind of finish out a strong game. He was having a strong game. SGA, I think, had 4 points in the first quarter and just built up to score in the 30s. And it just seemed like OKC's will to win won over Indiana. And I know there was a picture. I don't know. It was kind of like a meme or something like that, or with AI. They had SGA doing this to the Indiana crowd, saying, you guys are choked on this one because Indiana was doing that, and Halliburton is kind of famous with that with Reggie Miller. But I just thought that I kind of feel like this is going to 7 games. I don't want it. It's the best of three, but 2 out of 3. But I think it's going 7 games. And one of the reasons why I think it's going 7 games is because the ratings are really, really low for the finals. I think they had a 8.1 million ratings, which is very low with all the basketball fans in the United States and around the world. I don't know what the numbers are overseas and things of that sort. And one of the things that really kind of pissed me off is that Halliburton only shot one free throw throughout the whole series. And he's been getting fouled. He's been getting fouled, and I don't think that's fair. And how did SGA get away with the travel, to put them ahead is beyond me. And maybe the referees are tired too. Maybe the fans are tired of watching basketball. But I'm like, you gotta really kind of tighten up the calls on these games. And I know you want to let them play, but that was clearly a travel, and it should have been called. And we've been saying this. I've been saying this for years. It's like they let NBA players get away with this, and now it's like it's a normal thing. They get away with it. Oh, it's normal. But I think it's a travesty for them to kind of just break the rules anytime they want. Referees let it go, and it's not just that time, but it's several times during the game where they kind of let kind of violations go, and it doesn't seem fair. And I know for me as a basketball fan, and maybe they call us purists, but really, I disengage when I see that. I'm like, I really don't want to watch that because that's not the basketball that I, know and love and I played. And on the street, if it was a travel, it was a travel. Sometimes you get into fist fights because we didn't have replay. That's a travel. Nah, you did this, blah, 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 blah. Sometimes, you get the call, sometimes you didn't. I know the roughhouse play was accepted, but the violation, double dribble, travel, no.
No doubt. And I get that. But I have to say that we don't want you to sound like a whole geezer,
I
But
do.
and I get that. But what I'm saying to you is for everything that you mentioned about the referees not calling it for Indiana, OKC fans will kind of say it's the same thing. What I think the issue is for a lot of people, particularly those purists that you mentioned, is the factor that a lot of plays have been going on that they have not called. Other things have been going on. They just kind of let go and they try to be consistent, but you want one play to be called, you want a call to be made, and then other times you don't want it, depending on what's going on with the situation. Like everybody knows, when the SGA starts to go near the end, he has a knack. Even if you watch NBA 2K, for pushing off. he uses he uses his arm to push off, but that's norm. Jordan did it. Everybody know what happened. Utah, Byron Russell cleared that man out with his forearm, got him out of there, and hit the bucket. So superstars get calls. I will say this to you that I think that is hard now because you don't want them to be too ticky tacky, calling everything, but at the same time you want it to be balanced. And no matter what, when you play basketball, particularly on that level, it's never going to be balanced. Always going to be a call. It's going to be something. Somebody says something else. That's why I think that for me, well, I don't like anything blatant that makes a difference in the game. When they miss that, I agree with you 100%. But I think that's why it's important for the players and the teams to make plays early because you do
Right.
not want to come down to one or two last calls, ticky tack. Like some people were even probably thinking that Matherin, the player for Indiana, near the end, he started to reach in and make some simple, what I thought was silly fouls, but he was walking around like nothing happened, and Rick Carlisle was losing his mind. I'm like, but he's not playing smart. He's not playing smart at all. So how about you play smarter as a player so you don't put the referee in the game?
Yeah.
And I know it's on a different level, but don't just expect, a la Luca, anyway, allegedly, just expect to get every freaking call.
Yeah, I think the best basketball games is when you don't notice the referees. I think those are the
Mhm.
best basketball games where you don't even know who's refereeing or you don't even notice them in the game. Occasional foul and things of that sort. Well, there was an NBA trade today. We got to talk about Desmond Bain traded to the Magic for Cole Anthony and Caldwell Pope. They also get 4 unprotected first round picks and 1 round pick swap. And I'm like, man, maybe Memphis is kind of looking at this as, you know what? We can't really trust Moran anymore. We got to stockpile some good players. The only player that they could really kind of trade is Desmond Bain. And Desmond Bain was the guy who was really holding the ship together when Morant was going through his trials and tribulations and injuries. I was kind of shocked about this trade. I thought he was one of the mainstays there. But what are your thoughts about this trade, bro?
No, I agree with you. I can see where you would be very cautious as to what in the hell that Memphis is doing at this point. But when you flip it around, you got to say to yourself, Desmond Bain is a scorer. What does he provide to this team? And yes, he did carry the load while Morant was going through some things and some other injuries. But when you think about getting something back from Orlando, particularly those four unprotected first round picks. I'm not sure where they're at. That's very important if they want to have some leverage to move forward and get another veteran, right? That gives you a little leeway with all those picks. The other thing too, KCP is pretty solid. He
Yes, he is.
plays good D. He can score a little bit. He can do some other things, but
And he
he's
has a
solid.
chip. He has a championship with Denver.
Yeah, yeah, and he's relentless when it comes to playing strong, as long as he's in a good headspace. Cole Anthony, of course, is quite underrated. He can run the point. He also can serve as that backup point guard or fill in when Morant is not available. And we've seen that last couple of years. And those two guys come in with veteran experience can really help, I think, Memphis from that standpoint. Also, too, you're asking a guy like Jaren Jackson to take over, right, Junior, to take over and be there all the time to try to be strong. And if you add more veteran leadership, it might like lighten the load as to what Jackson has to do.
Okay. Let's go to another story. The Knicks woes at coaching. And the more and more I look at it as the weeks go by, This is why I think Dolan is probably the worst owner in the NBA because he never has a plan. He doesn't know what he's doing. He just owns the team and he just sits on the profits. But if you're firing a coach, you gotta have a plan on who's going to replace him. And he has no plan. He's going after coaches that already have jobs. Was that the plan, dude? I don't know. But here are coaches that are available. You have Mike Malone, you have Mike Brown. People are talking about Mark Jackson. People are talking about other assistants. I'm even looking at Sam Cassell from the Boston Celtics. Why not bring him in? Because he's been part of championship teams as an assistant coach. But what's going on with the Knicks? What do you think, man?
Man, it's crazy. What's wild about that is you mentioned not having a plan, and they got rejected by five of those coaches that already had jobs.
Yep.
They would actually not so much the coaches that rejected them, but it was the other teams that said, no, you're not, we're not giving permission. So those were five guys they could not talk to. Now you're in a position of vulnerability. You don't know how they're going to move forward. Some people mentioned about Rick Brunson, but I think there's some players on the team that are really not feeling him at all right now because of what they allowed him to do when Coach Tibbs was there. I would say this, like I said before, I think for me, it comes down to a couple guys, and you need veteran leadership. I know they talked about Taylor Jenkins from Memphis. I think he's young. I'm not sure if he has that quality that you're looking for to take. Because let's be real, the Knicks, you as a Knicks fan and other people in New York, they want to be champions. They want to get over the hump. So I think, as mentioned, the Knicks have already said they want a coach that has experience. I think Mike Brown could do the job quite well. He's had the opportunity to coach superstars on a high level as a head coach with LeBron. He's also been a great assistant over at Golden State for years, and he's
Mm-hmm.
done pretty good no matter where he is. I think he'd be a solid pick no matter what. I'm not sure if that's what they want in New York, but if you don't want that, I'm also looking at Mike Malone, right? Mike Malone was in Sacramento when he took that job, did real well. They lost their minds when they let him go because he was still a solid coach. And then, of course, he proceeds to go over to Denver where he becomes the head coach and they win a couple titles. So he knows what it takes to become a head coach that can win. And most importantly, he's from New York. He's a New Yorker. He knows all of the swag and all of the hype with the media. He knows how things are run on the East Coast. To me, unless something they find out something different, he's the perfect fit. He's one of your own. Maybe that's some people from the Midwest and West Coast don't understand. He has it. He has it. And he wants that job. I know he wants that job. He will be home. What I don't know what New Yorker, and I might be wrong, not too people that watch basketball would not love to come home and be part of that. With
Right.
all of the being in the Mecca and whatnot, I think he would love the job. And I think to me, he should be the front runner at this point. Other people, can they do the job? Yes. And as much as I appreciate and respect who Mark Jackson is as a person because I don't know him. It's been what, 10 years?
Yeah.
He got a job.
Yeah.
As much as I think he possibly could do the job, is that has the league and the way that the NBA is playing now, has it passed him by? And I hate to say this. No, I don't. I'm gonna say it. It's just I think it's too late for Mark Jackson. Unless you go down to the G League or something. This is a team that's competing. They're ready to try to win championships. He's just been watching basketball for 10 years. I mean, what is he really going to bring to that team?
Yeah. Time will tell. I said this last week. I'll keep saying this, and I've said it throughout the years of this show. If Dolan can screw this up, I think he's going to screw this up. I really do. I don't think he has a pulse on what's really happening and how he wants to do it. And it's going to be hard to get a coach that wants to deal with an owner like Dolan. It's almost like an owner like the Dallas Cowboys. It's just you're not going to mesh. You're going to have these disagreements, and I have to give Tibbs all the credit because Tibbs wrote an article to thanking the New York Knicks fans and New Yorkers. This was his dream job, and it lends me to believe now, and I'm kind of backtracking now that he wasn't really the problem, even though I don't think he's the coach to bring them over the hump. but it was a class act by him. And so, Dolan, if you had it in for him, regardless of whether he won a championship or not, you wanted him out of there, you would think you would have a plan to say, okay, this is the person I want to bring in. Usually that's how it works. But this guy, he is just like he has his brain is up in the clouds. He's not really thinking basketball. He wants to run around with his little rock band, all that other stuff, and just kind of style and profile like he's the big shot. And you don't know what you're doing. Sell the team. Sell the team. Sell the majority of the team to somebody else that can really run it instead of you trying to use this as a tax write-off, in my opinion. So let you lead on this story. KD, man. KD, I don't see it, but what's the deal? You come up with that question, man. So I know you asked the question, bro.
Well, boy, the question is, first of all, where do you think he'll go? Right? There are like 8 teams that are interested, but he has literally kind of whittled it down to 3 that he would prefer. And those 3 teams are the Spurs, the Rockets, and the Heat. And just to let you know, too, in the trade package, those are he has some trade packages available. These teams are willing to give for him. He has an expiring contract. Okay, Phoenix can do what they want, which is best for them. But usually, you try to accommodate the player as to where they might want to land. Your thoughts?
My thoughts are with KD before I get to the trade stuff is here's a good example of men who need to get out of their feelings, and sometimes you need to stay put. Can you imagine if he stayed put either at OKC? We talked about this, OKC, or hey, I had to leave OKC, went to Golden State. Him and Draymond had a little drama, and he decides he wants to go to Brooklyn. He's been with several teams now, and it's ruined his legacy. In my opinion, as a player, it's ruined his legacy. If he'd have stayed with Golden State, they could have been a true dynasty, like the New England Patriots in football. But he got caught in his feelings. He had to leave. Other teams haven't worked out. We thought it was going to be the big three over in Brooklyn, and they only played 17 games. He goes over to Phoenix. They don't even make the playoffs. So it's like now he's looking for a team. He's what, about 35, 36, 37? He's looking for a 3-year max contract or extension on his contract. And I hope, because one of the teams when he was leaving Golden State was the Knicks that wanted him. He didn't want to play with the Knicks, and he kind of poo-pooed on that. I hope the Knicks don't decide to pick him up because how durable is he at this particular point? What is he going to give you at this particular point? And now he's looking for another team to go to play at least 3 years. I think he's just chasing a bag at this particular time because I think he's at the end of his career. So teams have been, I think, I've been looking at stuff and they've been talking about Dallas, him teaming up with, Kyrie Irving again. I don't think that's going to happen. They've been talking about, I know you talking about San Antonio. I know you talk about Houston. I know you talk about another team that he's thinking about going to, but he's at the point where I think he's out of bullets in his gun, where he can demand to go anywhere he wants to, and people would want to accept him and want to bring him there, and bring that drama he brings with that, because he has to have the ball. And whether or not he will mess up the team chemistry at this particular point on all the teams, I wouldn't want him with Wembley, with San Antonio. I don't want him. Wembley, that's going to be the franchise. You're going to play second fiddle to Wembley. You are. So I don't know if he can handle that. I don't know if really teams really want him at this particular point because he's on the downside of his career. I don't know how long he's going to play. It seems like he's always injured. So what are you paying for? What are you going to get? Is he going to take you to a championship like he did at Golden State when he joined the team and helped them win the championship? I don't see him doing that for any of the teams that he wants to go to.
I know he's on the downside of his career, but I don't think he's that broken like that. But I think that there's some teams out there that still want him, and I think that you see the reason why the interest still in the market. You mentioned about San Antonio. I think with the right situation, he could assume his role because I don't think Kevin Durant wants to take over and try to be the guy that he used to be or the people assume he should be. So you look about San Antonio, they mentioned about a package of perhaps offering somebody like Vassell, Sokan, Barnes, and the 14th pick, right, for KD, which would not be a lot for them to lose because they still would have the number two pick as well. So they still could bring somebody else over unless they had to relinquish that. I also know Houston is interested. Houston wants to try to change some things up. Now, the fact that they just resigned Steven Adams for a 3-year deal, that might have something to do with whether or not they can afford KD.
Right.
And KD is going to cost some money. So they were offering the possibility of a Jabari Smith, a young, nice young center that can play, first round pick, and Jalen Green.
No.
Yeah,
Give
they're
up those
offering
players.
Jalen Green.
Don't do it, Houston.
Jalen Green. So, all right, it's a possibility. The Heat also interested. They're talking about offering Jamie Jaquez, former UCLA Bruin, Nikola Djokovic, and also Andrew Wiggins, and a first round pick. So that's a possibility. But the one team that I think that really wants him more than all of the, and I can't say that, but I'm just watching it, and I think they would love him. But I'm not sure if KD wants to go there because I think he's a warm weather guy. I think he wants to be in the Heat. So the Spurs, Rockets, of course, Heat. But that's the Timberwolves. Timberwolves want him because they would love to pair him with Anthony Edwards. He was one of Anthony Edwards' heroes coming up, and they would love to do that. And they were possibly looking at offering a package of Rudy Gobert, Dante DiVincenzo, Rob Dillingham, or Terrence Shannon Jr., and a first round pick.
Hmm.
So for everything that you mentioned, I think that KD can fit in all those teams. Not sure how much you're going to win. I think you can win with the T Wolves. I think you can win with San Antonio, and I think that you can win with the Rockets. Not so much sure about the Heat and the way that the leadership. And when I mean leadership, I'm not saying being the man, taking over, telling people what to do. I'm saying the way that he plays, the way he goes about the business. I think KD could be of assistance and substance, similar to the role that I think, depending on what happens, that he could play on the next Olympic team. The next Olympic team, they're going to be young. They're going to be some of them inexperienced, and they're going to need somebody that's been there before. Now, KD does not have to be a Superman. He just needs to do enough and show you that he's capable and provide some leadership on how to play on the next level when you get into the playoff.
Let me ask you a question. Does he have control of who he's traded to?
No, he does not because it's an expiring contract, but he has already hinted. And one of the things we talked about before, he has hinted where he would like to go. He mentioned San Antonio, he mentioned Houston, he mentioned Miami. And when he mentioned that, he preferred to go to these places, which also means that he would be more likely to sign a long term, that might be more than 1 year, what I'm saying long term, an extension with these teams to play with them. Instead of it being a 1 year deal, he would sign for so many years. It might be 2, 3, whatever the case may be. And the question you have to ask yourself as one of those teams, if he signs 1 year with you, is it worth it or you just move on?
Here's where I would tell Phoenix and even the Denver Nuggets. Trade Russ, trade KD to the Wizards, and get what you can get. Trade, especially KD, back home in the DMV. Just trade him there. Whether or not he's going to sign there 1 year, or whatever, we don't care. Get what you can get, draft picks, whatever, because I can't see him at 37, pushing 40, doing anything to help a team win a championship. I just can't see it. I just can't see it. So I know Denver, Russ said, hey, I'm not signing the option. Get rid of him. Get rid of him. Get somebody else, if you can. And then get rid of KD. Put them back together. Obviously, they deserve each other. They can't win with each other. They can't win without each other. So give him back to him. Give him back to the DMV because I think Russ played for the Wizards at one particular point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then they traded him off. He did well over there, and then they traded him. I think the Lakers or whatever. I can't keep up anymore. But trade him back. Give him. Let them be together. Kumbaya, all that other stuff. get you some draft picks, get you some younger players that can really kind of help solidify your teams and get you where you want. I know people are not going to agree with that. I don't care, but I'm done with Kevin Durant and his moodiness and him not being able to perform, him having all these injuries. He didn't really help Phoenix. We thought him, Beal, and
Booker.
Booker, Devin Booker. We thought that was a big three. I thought Devin Booker should have been a Knick. I said that before they got the playoffs going for a championship.
Mhm.
I thought Devin Booker that would be a great pickup for the Knicks. He is a guy. He's a clutch guy that they needed. I'm still mad at the Obi Toppin trade. He's killing them in the playoffs. The Knicks, and maybe Dolan has something to do with that. Maybe Tibbs has something to do with it. I don't know. But let's get rid of them. Get rid of these guys that are not really, they're at the end of their career. Get you some new, fresh blood in there and see if you can go with that. Quit paying these guys all these millions of dollars. You're not gonna know, you don't know what you're gonna get from them at 37, 38, 39. You don't. You don't.
So with that being said, though, I'm gonna interject something real quick. Out of the trade packages I mentioned, if I am Phoenix, I mean you can go another route, but the way I'm looking at it, I'm looking at the Houston package. I'm saying, okay, I'll trade you Kevin Durant for Jabari Smith, who's very young and come up and coming as a post player. Jalen Green is a young player that's you can really connect with and build off of too. He's working on his own game. And a first round pick for Kevin Durant at 37 years old, if that's what he is, I'm doing that tomorrow.
I'm not doing that if I'm Houston. I'm keeping my young talent. I'm not bringing KD because is KD going to take you to the championship after that trade?
But is Jalen Green gonna take the championship? See, my thing
I
is
think
this:
eventually, if they stick together, they can make a run.
he could, but I don't know. I hear what you're saying, but I think that in Houston, I might be wrong with this. I think they're kind of looking at right now. I think they're looking at right now because the way that they played before, you got Thompson over there, right? You got so many other guys that are coming together that I think they're looking at ready to move forward right now. So I don't know. I
All
don't
right,
know.
it's we got to wait and see on this
When
one.
I first heard this, I thought it was about money, right? I mean, like money on the table, like the rookie contract. But apparently, it's something different. Like there's some language that the Bengals want to put in as a rookie in the rookie contract that if it's not in there, where it kind of really talks about if you do something off the field, do something that's kind of unbecoming of the character of a NFL football player, you can receive a penalty, right? It can affect your bonuses and things of that nature. So my question to you is, there are a couple other teams that have done the same thing in regards to rookies, but there's some veterans that don't have that type of language in their contract. What do you think that means, and what do you think this goes, and how this young man is going to how this is going to work out for the Bengals and for this young man?
I'm not really sure because it's like the first time we're hearing this that he wants to re-enter the draft at this particular point, and I'm not sure whether or not he's able to do that. This is kind of unprecedented, and whether he's willing to sit out and just wait a year and train and then re-enter the draft. I don't know if the team will give up their rights at this particular point to him, the Cincinnati Bengals, that is. And I understand it. I understand it because I think there was also a story where he wouldn't be guaranteed his $10 million signing bonus at that particular point. And so why kind of put yourself out there? Maybe it'll change the rules of these rookie contracts because I can't see him. He's a guy that they highly touted, and he's not feeling it. You don't want a person that doesn't want to really kind of play because he doesn't feel like he's been fairly treated to play football for you at this particular point. So I'm thinking, and I know we talked about this earlier, they got to work something out. They got to work something out to keep him there or to attempt to try to keep him there because I'm not sure he can go back to school. I'm not sure if he's still getting paid NIL. If he is, he can afford to just sit out and get redrafted. And the Bengals, I think they're working on somebody else, another defensive player's contract to try to keep them in. So that's going to be a determining factor of what they can do with him.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree. I think though you mentioned is was it Trey Hendrickson? They were
Yes.
talking about, yeah, as far as the veteran, and he wants to be traded from that standpoint, and some language going on with him in that regard, as far as contracts are concerned. Maybe not getting enough money. In regards to Stewart, though, considering that he's a rookie coming in, granted, he might be frustrated by the language, and everybody doesn't have to go under that language. They don't have to follow by those rules. But at the same time, I think the closer we get into the situation, get more into, we just finished OTAs, starting to go into more getting ready for training camp in July, and you start getting closer to the season. I think both parties or both sides are going to start to realize this is a waste of time. He's not participating in any of the activities right now. He's probably going to be losing money because he's not there either. Since you mentioned about not getting the signing bonus, so maybe they kind of restructure the language where it fits for both sides, both parties. They come to agreements like that too, where it's okay. And therefore, as I think as you get closer to the season, they both need each other.
Yes.
Granted, you mentioned if he can't go back to the draft, if he wants to sit out, who wants to do that? You came out of school ready to participate in playing the NFL. You put all that work in, and now you want to go back home and work out at Planet Fitness. I know he won't be doing it, but he'll be working out at the gym for a year. Come on, man. So I think cooler heads will prevail. Cincinnati has been known for being cheap. But see, to me, this is not about money. This is strictly about language and whether or not you want to have a guy in there that's supposed to be a solid talent. And with that being said, it's got to work this BS out, man. Got to figure it out so that man can put those pads on.
Now I know you're in Ohio. I kind of think it's a smart move on his part. It sounds like somebody got to him and talked to him about this organization and said, "Hey, man, you need to do this before you really kind of hitch on to this team." I think it's a smart move. Your thoughts?
No, I agree. I mean, particularly if you're like only one of a couple people, particularly rookies, that actually had to adhere by to these to this contract in the language. No, I agree with that 100%. But the fact that he did it, I would not be to a point where you would not be open to negotiate or try to figure it out because you want to play. And I think this year that if the Bengals, they already changed, their defense was horrible last year.
Yes.
I think they brought Al Golden back, right, as the defensive coordinator. He was over at Notre Dame.
Right.
And he was there before they did well. I think the Bengals, particularly with the way they made the changes, make sure they didn't lose their wide receivers. They are a defense away from
Yeah.
possibly winning the title. And if
Yes.
this young man can help them, why are we going through all this? I mean, it's June, okay? It's June. So you still got a little time to work it out, but let's clear out this madness. So if anything, I'm not sure how good they're going to be, but this is an opportunity for the Bengals to this could be their year.
Okay. Chubb and Mixon in the backfield with the Texans. Just what CJ Stroud needs right there to take the pressure off him. You got them two horses back there. I'm looking forward to. Listen, I'm looking for a new team anyway. So I'm I'm looking for a new team to root for anyway. That's gonna be something else this year. Your thoughts on that, man?
Yeah, I think it could be a dynamic 1-2 punch. It used to be like you had that before with a few teams where he's like, oh, we don't know if they're gonna work out, but sometimes these veterans get in there and they don't want to run the ball 32 times. They're like, you know what, I'll take my 17, 18, I'm out. Let the other guys do well. And actually that works well as far as the wear and tear of these guys. And now when you're in there, you can go full blast on because of the factor that this guy is going to relieve you. And from that standpoint, the only question is with Nick Chubb coming off that injury for Cleveland and Joe Mixon has been prone to be hurt from time to time, can they stay healthy?
Yeah.
If they stay healthy, you got a dynamite 1-2 punch that can help CJ Stroud. Of course, you hope that they would have addressed or get better in regards to the offensive line because that's going to be very key for them. But no, I agree with you, and I also believe that these two veterans can help slow down or calm down CJ Stroud from having to be like he has to be the hero.
Yeah,
He's had a lot of times where he's played really good football, but to have veterans around you like that, and all they need you to do is make the plays that are available to you and be a solid game manager, it would make for a better football team and help them overall. Because he's not CJ. I think at times feel like he's carrying the weight of the franchise to be great, and you don't always have to do that.
takes a lot of pressure off him. And Nick Chubb was like, man, I'm glad to be out of Cleveland. I don't know what they were doing over there, but he was so elated to be out of Cleveland. It kind of tells me that the organization is not where it should be. And players are really, you had the defensive lineman trying to get out of there saying, I'm not coming back to play. And they had to really do some fancy things in his contract to try to keep him. It's like, Cleveland can't have nice things sometimes, and they get these great marquee players, but they can't keep them, and they don't perform as well. But I'm looking forward to Chubb going to Texas and really just playing lights out because if he's happy, I think that makes a great football player in the making in Texas.
No doubt, no doubt. So it'll be interesting to see what that brings to this team. I love the coach down in Houston. You know, Amigos doing really well there. It's early. They really came off a tough season, but I think with these types of moves and people getting healthy, there'll be a team to watch for definitely in the future.
You know, my last second shot last week was about the NFL marketing that the NFL is gay, lesbian, transgender, all this other stuff, and I stand by what I say. And we're going to have a discussion on this because the reason why I say the NFL is black is because the NFL is like 80% black. And you never really see them marketing the players, the African American players, the way they're marketing this. And I don't know if they're doing this during Pride Month and trying to stay relevant in the off season. But it seems like the NFL chases a lot of money, tries to keep themselves relevant in the off season to generate money, interest, things of that sort. But my thing is that I don't mind the NFL being all inclusive of everybody because everybody watches the NFL. But really give credit to the folks that are really powering that league, empowering that league. And I think it's African American players. Almost 80%, if not over 80% of the league is that. So you need to promote that. And I understand that you don't want to piss off people, but they're not going to stop watching football. Certain populations are going to watch football. They've been watching it. They can't stop it. They're addicted to it. So it seems like you go out of your way to kind of piss off certain people, but you won't piss off the people that you are trying to get their dollars from. And then I got to give a shout out, and then I'll have you talk about this. I give a shout out to my cousin Daryl, who's given up on the Dallas Cowboys. So any one of those you want to talk about after 33 years, Cowboys, you're losing them. You're losing them. Steelers, Cowboys, Giants, you're losing them. You're losing them.
Well, let me deal with the latter first because I have a little bit more experience in that, I think, and dealing with the Dallas Cowboys. I understand why people are jumping off the abandon the bandwagon, the ship. I think it's a long time coming. My question is, I am still a Cowboy fan, allegedly. But my question is, what took you so long?
Hmm.
Y'all didn't see the light? I said that a while back. Tony Romo and Dak Prescott are the same dude, except Tony Romo, Dak Prescott make more money and he got more commercials, more endorsements. But when you have quarterbacks for what 10 years, 10 plus years that have failed to make significant contributions and make differences in the postseason, this is what you get. And you can blame Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones don't play. And I know, excuse me, they have to set you up from the front office to be around solid players and whatnot too. But you can't tell me for all those years between these two quarterbacks that it was all Jerry Jones. Nah, you've had some players over there. You had some people that are a lot more healthier than there, and it just didn't work out. At some point, your quarterback, in order to proceed and be successful in the NFL, has to make plays when this team is struggling. I have not seen that really from Dak Prescott, and I add Tony Romo in there too when it counted. I'm just saying, at some point, you just got to do something despite your team. So good luck to your cousin on finding this new team. I'm gonna stay
Oh, yeah,
put.
fine. The Baltimore Ravens. You already got it.
Yeah, all right. I'm gonna stay put. I took a hiatus when they picked up T.O., but that's for personal reasons. I'll get into that later. But I took a hiatus. Like, well, what if they win the Super Bowl with T.O.? I said they won't, and I take that chance. And they did. They did. So I'm still good. But I have my reasons. But kudos to that. Switching to the other topic. The NFL, of course, is a billionaire boys club. Said that from the beginning. And what we mean by that is the NFL is loved by many fans. They make a lot of money. It's a top sport. Everybody knows that. People from all walks of life, backgrounds, cultures, whatever, Mexico, wherever. I mean, all kind of whatever people love football. That's why it's able to rotate and go around the world and attract millions of people or thousands of people that will pack into a stadium and watch because they know what they have. It's a dynamite product for them to make money. People love the Super Bowl. It's probably the one time, minus March Madness. We talk about March Madness a lot, but everybody stops when the Super Bowl comes on. And we had a show a couple years ago. We found out Rihanna was on the halftime show. Everybody went cold because it's like, oh my God, it's Rihanna. Then she came out pregnant, changed the whole game. Anyway, but that's neither here nor there. The hype around it is just amazing, and it continues to be hyped every year. Kendrick Lamar, we didn't know what he was gonna do. He gave a show that shut down everything. People still talking about that. They not like us. So the Super Bowl, the NFL has that luster of the ability to make things stop and make you pay attention. So when they go out and they start to definitely play up, I guess, to encourage more attention from said community, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. But maybe they're just, I don't know why they're doing it. And they selected this group of individuals. And let's keep it real. There are a lot of people, I'm sure they're in the game that watch football. They love the NFL. They probably get, I've seen jerseys that had certain kind of attachments and all kind of different
Bedazzled.
colors,
Oh, yeah, yeah,
pinks and very vibrant colors
yeah.
with the logos and everything on them. So hey, have at it. If you love football, I'm not mad at you. Am I surprised by the NFL doing what they do with this type of situation? I'm not at all. So I don't know. I don't know if you're sure your cup of tea and that's how you roll. I'm not mad at you. But again, they're gonna try to make money any way they can. But to your other point though about them celebrating African Americans because it is 75, 80% black, we know that, and they don't care. So they take it for granted, like they take the African American players for granted, because like with the whole Colin Kaepernick situation, they're not going to strike because they love their money. They love, and the owners know that most African American players is about me. I got to get mine. I can get my money. I want to be rich. I'm going to make my money, and this is what I stand up on. Granted, I will say certain things to back if something's not right with the league. But again, the artist showed you the last time that they were doing whatever was going on with the kneeling and standing and the police brutality of African American young men. When somebody took a stand, NFL owners kneeled, even Jerry Jones took that knee for one day, and not even day, less than so many, whatever it took during the halftime show to take that knee to give them the African American players what they wanted. Basically, what they're saying, I'm gonna keep this 100 with you. We're gonna kneel on his knee and tell them up, let's get back to work. And that's what they did. We're gonna sing kumbaya with them, make them feel like we're all in solidarity so they can get there. This is back to work next Sunday. And that's what happened. And now we have these situations coming up and they continue to do the same thing. They make their own rules. They're in charge. If you don't like it, go somewhere else. Because they're always going to find enough players, even though they may not be the same caliber of certain players, talent wise, they're going to find somebody that will fill the role. So you can get on board or get out.
Yeah.
And they're going to keep doing what they do. If you don't like it, you don't have to play. That's the one thing about it. That's what I always say. It is not a right. This is not everyday corporate economics or how you deal with the world. This is a business, and they choose to play the rule by their own rules. If you don't like it, you don't have to play. So it simply comes down to it is not a right. It is a privilege to play in their league. If you don't like what they're doing, go somewhere else. But you don't have to play.
Yeah, and I get all that, and I agree with all of that. My thing is give credit where credit is due. African American players are holding up your league and making your league what it is today. And no disrespect to other nationalities that play in the NFL, but it's a majority black league. Give credit where credit is due. You guys won't pay for health bills, CTE, all this stuff after they play. Give their flowers while they're here now. And, big up all these players, these black players that really play in this league and really go out there and get all the viewers, all the fanfare. They sell the jerseys and all that other stuff. Give credit where credit is due and quit slapping African American men in the face, and ignoring them and taking them for granted. Because can you imagine an all-white league?
No.
No, I couldn't imagine either. I don't even think I would watch, to be honest with you. And that's not to say that I'm racist against white players playing in the league or any nationality playing in the league. But this league is what it is because of black players. You need to start saying that and need to start marketing that and give them their credit. You got any last words in the last second shot?
Yeah, I want to address that what you just said. I hear what you're saying. I think I would agree that they need to acknowledge said individuals, particularly because of the history of what African Americans have meant to this league. But as far as the modern day players are concerned, sometimes that we were taught as young men, great minds. If you don't command respect, how the hell you think people gonna give it to you? Don't say you got to be an ass about it. But you're in this league, like we said before, when the whole thing went down before that, if 4 or 5 notable players stood up and said something what we need to represent or what we want as a entire body or the majority of the body of 80% of individuals that represent this league, they have so much power. I'm talking about African American players, but oftentimes they relinquish it or they neglect to use it in the proper way. And this is an opportunity for them to do so. But what they do, they don't say anything and they expect to be somebody to tell you, yeah, we appreciate you, we want you to do the right thing. When all they're going to do really, because they know you're not going to do anything because you love money so much, in their opinion, like they do with little children. We got you where we want to give you something like a shiny red car or shiny toy. And guess what they do? Keeping it 100 with you. I'm going to pat you on the head, little boy. Do the math. Think about what I just said.
My last second shot is going out to the legend Jim Marshall. He passed away a couple of weeks ago, part of the Purple People Eaters with the Minnesota Vikings. He was not only a great football player, but he was a great intellect. And he's famous for running the ball back the wrong way. And I think he scored for the other team. But I remember seeing that when I was a kid. But I was always amazed in hearing him in interviews and how intellectually sound he was and how he represented the Minnesota Vikings in the NFL and those great defenses in Minnesota. They didn't win a championship, but it wasn't because of the defense. That's for sure with that front four they had. And I thought it was equal to the Steel Curtain with the Pittsburgh Steelers, that defense. So he's an ancestor now. I want to give him a shout out because he's gone, but he's not forgotten. That's our show.
OH10, Buckeye.
We will see you next week. Peace.